Hey, look. Labels blowing up my line and got me missing calls. Told her you ain't gotta hit me till you licking. Feel like ZVF, baby, I be cooler than the mink weather. Make a Coke bottle, give me brain till I think better. Back up on my again, hanging out with Benjamin. Franklin got me stanking in the Lincoln, talking dividends. Look at what we did again.
Brother DMG, the poet. Y'all know what it is. Before we get into our spiel, I got to do my spiel. Let me say God bless to all my Christian brothers and sisters. Let me say Hotep to my Kemetic brothers and sisters. I want to say Shalom or Shalom to all my Israelite brothers and sisters. I want to say Assalamu Alaikum to all my brothers and sisters in the NOI. I want to say Islam to all my Moorish brothers and sisters. I want to say peace to all my brothers and sisters in the nation of gods and earth, them 5%ers. I want to say what's up to all my Rasta brothers and sisters. Salute to all my atheist brothers and sisters. What's up to all my Abo brothers and sisters. Big what up to all my Naga brothers and sisters. Last and certainly not least, I want to say Jambo to all the rest of my brothers and sisters all throughout the African diaspora, be it here in the wilderness of the United States of America or beyond. Y'all know I say that greeting for one reason and one reason only. It's because if you black, I'm with you. And I hope that you with me. Our different ideologies should not keep us from uniting. We can have unity without uniformity. And guess what, family? As hard as it may be, we can disagree without being disrespectfully disagreeable. With that being said, family, let's get into it.
Yo, what's going on, man? That's some powerful words from my brother. We don't always have to agree on ideology to unite for a common cause for black folk. And I agree. We have a very, very interesting show today. It's a continuation from last week. Last week was just an open discussion about the question of the conspiratorial view of history. And I have a special guest with me, my boy, my brother, the elder, Julius Rhinehart.
Greetings, everybody. Greetings to DMG. Before I say greetings to G, because I want to say greetings to G, I want to say greetings to DMG. I'm glad to finally be on your channel. I love you with the love of God, and man, I appreciate you, the opportunity to be on your channel. And I want to send a shout out to G, who's in front of you, in front of me. And I'm glad to be on this program with him, and I'm excited for what we're going to talk about. And I want to also, I want to be clear. I thank God for my wife and my mother-in-law.
I just want to
for what they've done and how God has used them in my life.
Amen, brother. Amen. Hey, and I want to say personally to you, thank you for joining me today. A lot of times I do these shows, I tell the people, I say, hey, my brother Julius, he'll love this subject right here. And I'm glad you was able to join me today. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it, because you know that this topic, bro, is we go down in that rabbit hole. Whoo-wee, time will just fly away. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it and start off with this disclaimer and go from there. So everybody, again, the information presented here on Paradigm Shift TV 314 is made available solely for general purposes only. Paradigm Shift TV does not warrant the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of this information. Any reliance you place on such information is strictly at your own risk. Paradigm Shift TV 314 disclaims all liability and responsibility arising from any reliance placed on such materials by you or any other visitors to the platform by anyone who may be informed of its contents. Paradigm Shift TV 314 may include content provided by third parties, including materials provided by other users, bloggers, third-party licensors, syndicators, and aggregators, and reporting services. All statements and or opinions expressed in these materials and all articles and responses to questions and other content other than the content provided by Paradigm Shift TV 314 are solely the opinions and the responsibility of the person or entity, or as today would be the persons and entities, and that will be Julius and myself. These materials do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Paradigm Shift TV 314 and is not responsible or liable to you or any third party for the content or accuracy of any material provided by any third party. Next slide.
Hey, DMG, can you hear me? I mean, G, can you hear me?
I'm listening. Go ahead,
Can you
bro.
hear me?
I'm listening.
No, I kind of switched up a little bit.
I
I just
can
want
hear
to make sure.
Can you hear me? You got a slight delay.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
I got.
I can hear you.
I got it now. I got it. Never mind. I got it.
There you go.
I'm good. Yeah.
You good now,
I just
bro?
wanted to. I'm good now. I'm good now.
Okay.
At first, I was having a hard time hearing
you. You know, bro, you got it?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Let me get through this slide and then you want me to mute you out real quick?
I'm good. I'll just be quiet.
Sometimes it be technical issues, it be all kinds of things, but be patient with us because this is definitely going to be an interesting show. Give me the thumbs up, bro, if you're ready. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mute you out real quick. And then I'm gonna go ahead and read through this slide, and then if you can hear me, you should be able to respond. I'm gonna unmute you right now and go back to this, introducing this myself and the subject, and pretty much just going over the fact that yes, I grew up Christian. I know you grew up Christian, and so therefore, my biblical view, my worldview is strictly from the Bible, and that's there you go. I can hear you. Yeah, you sound good. It's always biblically based. So now we're talking about the conspiratorial view of history, and so sometimes it's hard to talk to people about this particular subject, the conspiratorial view of history. And you know, there's a famous saying that I always, again, I say it all the time: people's heads are in the sands, and I don't know if it's because they are afraid of facing the realization that there's a conspiracy we are under attack from all sides, and we're gonna go through this. We're gonna see little bits and pieces of this in the media. The media constantly lying to us. Uh, uh, the whole global warming situation, GMOs, you name it, it's happening right in our faces. So, if you don't believe that there's a conspiracy to destroy and depopulate this world of mankind, all I would do is say, I'm praying for you. And I just pray that you get your head out the sand. Wake up, because it's happening. And not only that, there is a biblical there's a prophetic implication behind all of that. Bro, is it something you want to say?
Well, I mean, first of all, I just want to make sure you can't hear me though, right? You can't hear me, right? Oh boy.
Let me see.
Can you hear me?
Are you there, brother? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Oh, wow.
I can hear you now.
Okay. What people need to understand is that you were talking about the conspiratorial view of history. I tell people all the time, the conspiratorial view of history does not mean that every single thing is a conspiracy, but it does mean that there is an evil presence in history, and that we have to be aware of it, and that we need to question what we're hearing, and we need to question how certain things happened. And and if certain things warrants a conspiracy, we need to not erase that out of our heads. We need to know that conspiracies actually happen. And so I would let people know ahead of time that when you say conspiratorial view of history, that is what it is.
Again, I'm hey brother, I don't know if you can hear me, but for some reason there's a network issue going on where
Okay.
you're lagging, and
Let me try again.
it's like the audio is going in and out.
Wow.
See, now I can hear you clear.
Okay.
Are you using headphones or something?
I'm about to use them now because
Huh? Okay, so while he's getting ready.
hello.
So yeah, I was actually quite amazed to see like the conspiracy. Oh, there you go. Hello. You there? I see you. I hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm so sorry.
Again, y'all, this is something that typically happens. We have technical issues. Hey, it's cool. It happens. Stuff happens.
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right. Can you make out what I'm saying now?
Going on.
Oh boy. Let me come back. Hold on.
Do you wanna jump out and then come back
Yeah.
in?
Yeah.
I can see the frustration, bro. Okay. All right. So while my brother Julius gets prepared, hopefully he's watching via YouTube and he can catch up. So, like I said, for me, at the end of the day, it's not about the Eve. That's what this is really about for me. Growing up, vote that I should always vote. And that's what I believe because that's what I was told that I should do. I was told that I should always vote Democrat, but after I had a very bad experience, I decided to vote Republican. And right after that, and I joined the military between 2000 and 2001. And George Bush Jr., of course, was the president at that time. And, according to him, attacked by Islamic terrorists who flew commercial planes into the World Trade Center, as you see here. Right after 9/11 happened,
American and coalition forces are in the early stages
and I had a feeling I would be, on the next flight heading to Afghanistan. I had that feeling, but I didn't go to it instead. And as the days led, my bad, brother. There you go. So basically, as the days led to, the first rounds going to Afghanistan, we were sent to Iraq. Of course, that was questionable because we were trying to figure out what the Iraq have to do with anything. I started doing research on the people so that I could be acquainted with, the culture of people that I was going to be there, the Iraqis. Julius, you want to add something?
Can you hear me?
In the Battle of Iraq.
So I ended up going to Iraq, you know what I'm saying? And while I was in Iraq, I read a book called The Savage Nation. I don't know if y'all heard about Michael Savage, but he's a savage. And he's a author, a political analyst, and he has very strong opinions about the liberal class. So, I learned about that particular body of people into which you call liberals. So, according to Mr. Savage, he believes that liberalism is a mental disease, and he still believes that. And I kind of side with him on that because basically, you'll see that the decisions that liberals make when it comes to the policies of America are very detrimental to the United States. But in Iraq, this was the first time I've been introduced to such a term, and so I understood why he felt this way. Again, the liberal politicians seemed to promote policies that were harmful to our national interests, even to the point of national security. That was a big one. So I don't have that book that I was reading while I was in Iraq with me, but when I got back, I ran into this book, Scorched Earth, and no, not when I got back, but when I got back, I lost that book in a tornado, and I had gotten this book right around when Obama, or right after Obama had gotten into I'm sorry, when who came after Obama? My mind is shot right now. Of course it was Trump and then Biden, but in between those two transitions, I got this book here, and it's wild because in his book, he kind of calls out certain things almost years before they actually happen. But again, this is what he says in the book. See, Savage, like I said, Savage, he brings up a group of people to whom he calls subversive groups, and these groups are groups that operate like the USAID on the interests of America, but they're skimming money for liberal policies, like we've seen, and I'll pull that up later. But this is what he says, and I want you to pay attention to who he brings up. So he says, look no further to the organizations that have received direct funding and assistance from the mastermind of world disorder, the money changer, George Soros, and his so-called open society foundations. So Michael Savage then goes into a litany of different subversive groups, and I'm gonna call them by name. He calls out the Advancement Project. Y'all can look that up. All of Us or None, Alliance for Justice, America Coming Together, America Votes, American Bar Association Commission on Immigration, American Bridge 21st Century, and stop me if you heard this one before, the ACLU. Bro, you can hop in here. If anything stands out to you, let me know. If not, I'm gonna keep going.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Oh, you clear now? You clear.
Awesome. I went into my other room, and I felt like then in here you would hear me clearer. So, okay.
Yes.
You can hear me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Now, what I wanted to say is I wanted to start off saying the conspiratorial view of history. I love this subject because this is where I'm at. Doesn't mean that you see a conspiracy in everything, but it does mean that you question history enough to question things that deserve to be questioned, and you recognize that there's an evil demonic force in history. Some people actually call the unseen hand of history or the conspiratorial view of history the devil view of history. But what you believe is that you don't rule conspiracy out. And to get to what Michael Savage was talking about with the foundations go back further than George Soros. The foundations go back at least, I forgot the name of the foundation, but it goes back to like the 1800s. But it but they became powerful, and they're most powerful probably all the way up in the I would say probably the 1940s, and became investigated, because they were investigated. They were investigated in 1963, I believe. And it was called the Reese Committee on Tax Exempt Foundations. It's 2,000 and some pages. You can still get it on the internet.
Okay.
I'm dropping dimes. You can actually research this. And the Rockefeller Foundation.
Y'all need to be writing this down.
Right. The Rockefeller Foundation, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, the Ford Foundation can be investigated, and they were behind some of your subversive activity, many of your subversive activities, and it was a way for them to do these activities and remain behind the scenes. You're going to bring them up later. I'm not trying to monopolize your time. But Carol Quigley had said,
let's go.
You know, that in order to do what they're doing, they had to confuse people. They had to, later on I have my book. I'll just have my book later on. But he said that they had to misdirect people basically on the flow of money and how money worked. And so when you hear about people donating and everything like that, people don't really have an understanding of how money works. When money is exchanged, or money is donated to a cause, that cause develops feet. That cause develops power, because now it has power to move and power to do whatever it's going to do. And it can use the cover of environmentalism. It can use the cover of different covers, and that one title that he uses, "Money Changers." That's key. That's key. All right, let's keep going. Right. So basically, I'm just going over the, while I was in Iraq, I was reading that book, The Savage Nation, and I was introduced to liberalism, and it was from his perspective. But when I went and did my research, I was like, oh wow, this is harmful. Their policies are harmful for the country. And he pointed out a specific person who's alive today, which is George Soros. So I had to do more research into George Soros. I didn't do a whole lot of research, but his name just always pops up. But let's move on. So he continues in the book. I got the resources at the end. He says this: if being subversive means going against the wishes of the taxpayers, what do taxpayers want? Does the average taxpayer want more immigrants or fewer immigrants? You have group beds upon floods of immigrants, a virtual tsunami, an indigestible amount or number of refugees, immigrants, whatever you want to call them, especially from third world nations.
There is nothing new about all this.
That hate us.
The number of people crossing illegally into America this past year has been staggering.
Now,
10,000 a day.
Donald Trump got in
November. It has
you see the title of the book was Scorched Earth,
and objectively, it
fixing
seems clear
America
that the US
after
government has
Obama.
lost any sense of control.
And
it's why the US
this
Secretary
is
of State
one of the things that he
landed in
predicted,
Mexico
that
late this holiday.
these groups
President
do
Biden
everything
sent
they
him to
can
find a
to
deal
bring in
fix the problem, because he knows
immigrants,
that the border
especially
issue
immigrants
may well
from
cost him
third
the
world
White House.
nations that hate us.
There was, we're told, some progress, and it is familiar stuff, tackling, repatriating
Something you want to say, bro?
money. None of it, though.
A lot of people
and so while the politicians spoke
don't understand
along the border fence, the people continue to gather.
the thought
It is a
processes
part of the US
behind
border where
immigration. and they don't understand that the reason why that they're doing what they're doing, it has nothing to do. For instance, there's a, where do I begin? There's a modus operandi set. There's a way to answer what I'm saying, but you need to think about what I'm saying. They bring over immigrants as a way to drive up, rather, as a way to basically, what's the word I'm looking for? As a way to get wages to where, let me take my time. They want us to get, they want wages to be, they want them to do jobs that we won't do, basically. There we go. They want them to do jobs that we won't do. So basically what they want to do is they want them to do all the service jobs. And the bad part about it is, thank you, Lord. The bad part about it is we went through these different cycles and they don't really make us aware that we're going through these different cycles. And so we went through this cycle where all the jobs now really are service jobs. But if they're willing to do the job for little, but you're demanding more, guess who's going to get hired? They are.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
They are, because
they want to. Now, I was just going to say that they want to save as much money as possible, and so why not hire the cheap labor?
Exactly. It took me a while to get it out, but exactly. They want cheap labor. Now, the bad thing about it is, as you know, we become a nation where cheap labor is expected. There also becomes some people that are going to be out if they're depending on the job sector. Now, if they're making their own, they're going to be all right. But if they're not, they're going to be without a job. And then they're going to be what? They're going to be dependent. See, you have to understand. You have to understand your ideal, and you have to understand what this is. You know, you have to look at your ideal in terms. You have to look at your ideal in terms of, is this the best, or is this just what makes me comfortable? The reason why I'm saying this, because everybody needs kind of a come to Jesus moment, where they basically are like, wait a minute, I've been taught this all of my life, but this is not actually where it's at. Where it's at actually is independence, not dependence. Dependence ultimately means you have no power. And if you have no power, you're easily manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
I pray this is making sense. If you have no power, you're easily manipulated. And if you're easily manipulated, you can be coerced to take the country where they want to take the country.
Yeah, I'm tracking what you're saying. Like, according to Ralph Epperson in The Unseen Hand, power was the ultimate goal, not even money.
Exactly.
It was power.
Exactly.
And that power, you know, when you feel like you have power over somebody, it makes you feel like a god. And
exactly.
I think that's what their ultimate goals is to be like God. They want to be the gods of the earth.
And that's what people need to understand. These people behind all of this is a bunch of families. Now, behind it all, of course, you're going to find Satan, you're going to find demons. But what I'm saying is, at the root of it, you're going to find families. These families already got money. They already got money. What they're seeking is power. What they're seeking is power.
Bingo.
And I wanted to go ahead and read this quote.
Let's get into this.
I wanted to read this quote. I promise I'll be done. I promise.
Oh no, go ahead. Help yourself.
I found it. It's in the book, the Naked Capitalist by W. Cleon Skousen. Now, this is a commentary on Tragedy and Hope. Now, get the book Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. But this is a commentary.
I got it on digits.
Yeah.
I know what's the name of that book?
The Naked Capitalist. The Naked Capitalist. And on page in the book.
I'm gonna put it in the comment section.
I will. In the book, The Naked Capitalist, on page, hold on just a minute. On page 9, it quotes Tragedy and Hope. And in the comments, it says, now, let me just read this for a moment. The influence of financial capitalism and of the international bankers created, and the international bankers that created it was exercised both on business and on government, but could have done neither if it had not been able to persuade both of these to accept two axioms of its own ideology. Both of these were based on the assumption that politicians were too weak and too subject to temporary popular pressures to be trusted with control of the money system. All right, now this is what I want you to hear. To do this, it was necessary to conceal on every it was necessary to conceal or even mislead both governments and people about the nature of money and its modes of operation. Now, I wanted everybody to hear that. And as we're going to find out, this was not a conspiracy theorist. This was, I'm not going to say who it was until it's time to say who it is. But this was a professor. I'll say that much. This was a professor saying this, and he was basically admitting that they deceived people on the economy.
Oh yeah, you know what? Hey, if you want, we can do a separate discussion about the nature of money and what is money.
Okay.
And how the money system works and everything, because you also know that there is a hidden hand with that, right. Especially dealing with the Federal Reserve Act, the creation of that and stuff like that. So, all right, so let's move on. Let's keep going. So again, George Soros came up, and the organizations that he fund. We saw, it was one of them mainly dealt with immigration, and as my brother pointed out, the immigration is used to bring in cheap labor, but the effects of that can actually harm our economy and our work and our middle class. So Michael Savage again continues. He says that these low, unscrupulous organizations bring in people who will never ever integrate into the society, who will spend every waking moment hating the society, many of whom will go off like rockets. Bro, you remember last week? Well, I don't know, you wasn't on, David was on, but I showed a video of the lady being burned on the train by that migrant. These are the repercussions that he was warning us about, and it's very suspicious to see that this is the type of these are the type of policies that people like George Soros want to encourage Americans to have. Well, we just let people do whatever they want to do, come here from wherever and live however. But at the same time, our tax dollars is supposed to support all of this. All right. So he continues. As I've said many times and for many years, at the top of the list is the ACLU, and he hates the ACLU for some reason. But of course, its officers will argue we're not being subversive, we're not anti-American, we just believe in immigration. Sure, it does, he says, as long as it allows foreigners to sidestep borders, language, and culture with impunity. I like them to answer some of these questions. And these are the questions I will ask Soros. Where do you get your funding from? How much of your funding comes from foreign governments? How much has the Mexican government contributed through these front groups? Very interesting questions. So let's see. Now this video. This one should be with the senator. So the senator of Louisiana is complaining about the fact that George Soros has just bought or trying to buy a fees.
I wish him well. Gave his farewell address to America. He said a number of things, but one in particular got my attention. Separation of power in the hands of very few ultra wealthy people. President Biden went on to say today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy.
This Biden saying this now.
Our basic rights and freedoms and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. End quote. Now, I don't know who President Biden was talking about. But I know one particular circumstance about which I'm going to speak that fits his warning. Again, I don't know if the circumstance I'm about to describe is what President Biden meant, but if the shoe fits, wear it, Cinderella.
Uh-oh. You know he don't hold back.
Let me cut to the chase. Oligarch. He's one of the wealthiest people in the world. He's a friend of President Biden's. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's an honor the president can give to a civilian. The Presidential Medal of Freedom. Mr. George Soros is buying WWL AM radio in New Orleans. Let me say that again. That may not mean much to you, Mr. President.
All right.
1922. Over 100 years.
So basically,
It's a clear
as we
channel.
point out,
What the
let me see if I can
communications
stop
experts
this.
call a clear channel Class A station. Its transmitter power output
Can you see it now? All right. It's still playing somewhere. Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. All right. So Michael Savage seems to be. I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah. So to me, it sounds like Michael Savage is just like everybody else is looking at George Soros, and then he talks about the oligarchy. And I got. So let me see what it says here. Talking about different forms of government. Okay, here we go. If the democratic form of government, because you know they say we're in a democratic government in some instances, it says here, if the democratic form of government ruled by a majority does not protect the rights of the minority, is there a form of government? If democracies protect only the strong, is there a form of government that protects both the strong and the weak? Various forms of government, basically, there are only two: ruled by God and theocracy. Ruled by God, which is a theocracy, and ruled by man in various forms of man's government, forms of government. So it says here, man has no control to form a theocracy of government or not. This is God's decision. God will create one whether or not it's his plans. This study of government will consider the valuable alternatives of man. Some of them ruled by one, a dictatorship or a monarchy ruled by one man, an oligarchy ruled by a few men, and a democracy which is ruled by the majority. Let's continue between two other forms of government. Before I go on, do you remember when Trump was in office before and all that stuff that was taking place in like Minnesota, the riots and all of that?
I
Do you
remember that.
recall all of that?
I remember that.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I
Can you hear me?
you now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So supposedly George Soros was funding the rioters, the people that was coming in on buses from different states to help riot. All of that was supposedly funded by George Soros. So when you have mass chaos in the street, and so is he or was he and is he still trying to create anarchy with within America so that this form can fall. So it says anarchy is created by those who wish to destroy one form of government so that it can be replaced with the form of government the anarchists wish. It too will be discarded as a viable alternative. So even when let's continue. So every monarchy has its small circle of advisors who allow the king or dictator to rule as long as he does so in the manner pleasing to the oligarch. So it seems like no matter whose power, you will have oligarchs like Soros. Now he's in Louisiana buying this radio station. Again, added back to the stage. The second video, you're going to see why it's such a concern because of George Soros' nefarious business deals around the world. What's up? Nobody was good, bro. All right, let me add this back to the stage real quick. Hey, if you want to say something, you're free to chime in.
Can you hear me? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I just want to say it behooves everybody to really pay attention to who was formative, what was formative in the history of the ACLU, who was formative in its history, and what it's really all about. Because one rule that they have in their playbook, the elite have in their playbook, is they try to come in riding on the wings of something that seems to help the people, but in reality, it's for their purposes. American Civil Liberties Union, that doesn't sound threatening, but what its actual goals are threatening. Did you hear me?
I didn't hear the last part.
What I said on the
might be
last
on
part.
my side. I'm not sure, but
okay.
It's like
what I said on the last part was that American Civil Liberties Union sounds non-threatening, but when you look at their actual history and their actual goals and their actual agenda, what they intend is actually threatening.
Yes. I agree. Yes. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see what he says here. And I just added this morning.
Not to create, quote, a special Soros shortcut, quote, that would circumvent their rules and allow the deal to move forward. It did it anyway. Here's what Mr. Troy A. Miller,
measures that's required under the FCC.
President and CEO said. He said, quote, my words, or his words, not mine. Quote, the fact that the FCC is apparently willing to bypass the usual protocols, that means the normal procedures, to get this transaction done just weeks before a presidential election, and right after the President of the United States gave Mr. Soros the Presidential Medal of Freedom, seriously undermines the commission's credibility and raises unwarranted questions of whether administrative processes are being manipulated to exert political interference and preference, end quote.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Here's what one of the Republican members of the FCC.
How do you go past the security measures of the FCC
Commissioner
unless
Brendan Carr, who's soon to be chairman of the FCC, now that there's a new sheriff in town?
talking about
Here's
Trump?
what Mr. Carr said. The commission's decision today is unprecedented for
Come on, don't start acting up. Don't start acting up. Come on.
but they didn't. Now, this is America. You're entitled to believe what you want. If it's legal, you're entitled to do what you want.
Here you go. All right. So basically, he's complaining because Soros bought this Louisiana radio company. And what do you think he's going to do when he gets this radio company? As I stated earlier, bro, since having trouble connection, this caused by unsustainable. Okay. It might be my fault. Let me remove this real quick. Maybe that'll help. All right. So he complaining, like I said, because Soros is now trying to, I guess he bought it. But there are FCC records that he has to through. But why? The reason why it's important is because Soros is liberal. He wants those type of policies that we saw in place during the Biden administration. He wants those type of, and if he has access to the airways or the media, imagine what type of misinformation he can put out there on the airways. You want to respond? I'm sure we got a delay, but
so what now?
so we at an hour now. I'm gonna go ahead and keep going because we got a lot more to go through, but I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I'm gonna keep going through. All right. And when you say something, if I hear you, I'll stop.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay.
So what do you think about Soros wanting to buy that radio station and his with his agenda?
I mean, it goes back to the kind of warfare that we're experiencing and that we're in. It's a knowledge based warfare, and if you can influence how people think, you can influence their actions. People think that you're just saying this, but there is documentation that shows that the first person to really do it, one of the first people to really do it in America anyway, was J.P. Morgan in 1912. It's in the congressional record where he brought up, I think, 15 of the nations. Huh?
Okay. There you go. Oh, there you go. There you go. It fixed it. So go ahead.
Okay. He brought up 15 of the nation's magazines or newspapers, basically, because he was seeking to influence the thoughts of the nation. And it started with J.P. Morgan. So this is not something that...
Another level. So I'm gonna go and keep going. I hear. I'll pause. All right.
Okay.
So let's go to the next slide. Oh, I heard you, but then you went back out. Say something. Go ahead and say something.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You hear me now?
Now.
Okay.
But you probably said a whole lot.
Do you know where it stopped?
Yeah, I'm checking my internet, and it was like in and out, in and out, in and out.
Well, basically, can you hear me? Can you hear me now, though?
All right, let me go on.
Okay.
We'll try to get through these slides. All right, this is the last clip.
Not free if you can't express yourself, and Mr. Soros has that right. But here's where he stands.
Now this is why he's concerned, y'all. This is why.
Who's buying WWL radio in New Orleans? Mr. Soros is a billionaire. God bless him. He made his money himself. And what, in my opinion, are radical causes. He's now working with his son. Well, understands a very smart young man his name is Alex Soros. Mr. George Soros and Mr. Alex Soros hold some, how should I put this, non-mainstream American beliefs. For example, Mr. George Soros is called the United States, quote, and just world. Mr. Soros believes that our country is the main obstacle to a stable and just world. Not China, not Iran, not North Korea, the United States of America.
And this man wants to broadcast this stuff to Americans.
Mr. Soros is also better.
Do you see that? And you see what type of government China has.
I believe that the United States should have secure borders. He once called national borders a, quote, obstacle.
Now, and you tell them about people like George Soros, there is a conspiracy. People are in a conspiracy to hijack this country and it's happening in real time. This video was done like a few weeks ago, I think. Yeah, maybe a few weeks, month or so ago. But in any case, people got their eyes on this man, and he serves as one of those oligarchs. No? Okay. I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear me? You might got another lag, so I'm gonna just keep going. All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. What'd you ask?
I can hear you now. Yeah. I'm gonna just keep going because we already at an hour. Let's see. I'll ask it after this clip. Soros, who happens to be a leftist, funds all of these organizations that's hostile to the American way. Subversive on Explain, a man who funds organizations that work to flood the United States with Muslim men of military age from Syria and call anyone who opposes them a racist. Would you say that's healthy for the nation? Tell that to the women who had to suffer being raped in 2016 because of the immigration policies that was taking place in Europe in 2000. And these type of subversive groups have been pointed out a long time ago, before now. To understand his past, because this is not the first time that he's worked to disrupt governments. That's why, as I was telling y'all, when I went to Iraq, I came back and I thought, I started learning about liberalism, but I didn't understand politics of it. And so me, being a young Christian soldier, feeling like America is Christian nation and we going to fight the enemy, I was hyped, like, yeah, Bush the man, he taking it to him, blah, blah, blah. I was even bragging about the fact that we might get some of that oil. But when I got into and the crazy part about it, Julius, I was using Romans 13 to justify the Iraqi war. That's how ignorant I was and caught up in the whole political thing, being misled. But thinking that George Bush was a Christian, a born again Christian, and that this was people who hate the Christian God, I soon found out in one discussion that George Bush was known to be, or was part and is part of a secret society called Skulls and Bones. And when I did that research, this is how I came to understand the conspiratorial view of history. Go ahead, bro.
Can you hear me? Oh. Can you hear what I'm saying?
The second lag
Hello?
or something, I'm not sure. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now? Okay. The connection between Skull and Bones and what you'll later on talk about the group is the British East India Company. And the British East India Company was the company where they did the opium trade. The opium trade. And it was opium money that they used to create the Order of Skull and Bones. You know, and which is basically drug money. That's basically what opium money is. And
real choppy again. Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they
Are you
use
like in the
drug money.
basement or?
I'm in my bedroom. I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. Oh, you
But
good
they
now?
use drug money. Did you hear me?
I can hear you.
Wow. They use drug money to start Skull and Bones, so you know, from the opium trade to start it.
Oh wow.
You know, and when there's a ritual basically where you
is
lay
it
in.
true that they took?
Hello?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, there's a ritual where they lay in the coffin and confess all their sexual misdeeds, and the surge goes. There's like a surge that goes through their body, and when they go through this, when they go through this ritual, they're said to be born anew. So much of the language you hear from them is going to sound Christian-like, born anew, you know, and in Christian vernacular, born again, you know, but of course, Skull and Bones is the farthest thing from Christianity that there is. One of the farthest things from Christianity that there is. And but that's among the many things about Skull and Bones.
Hold on for a second, bro.
Okay.
I can't figure the lag out. This is crazy. Would you be okay if I called you?
Yeah.
Video.
Let's just do that. Let's just do that.
It might, because at least you won't be like.
Right. Let me just get off here. Let me get off here.
I'm gonna do. Stand by. Yes. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know if it's my computer or his. I mean, his internet, my internet. I don't know, but I'm going to call my brother back via the phone. Calling him now.
Hello?
There you go. Man, I'm so sorry, bro.
I am sorry because there's so much I want to say, but I'm glad you got me on this part. So now you can hear me clearly.
Yes, and I think everybody else can hear you clearly too.
Okay. But the connection that you have with Skull and Bones, and later on the group, is the opium trade and the British East India Company, the ship or the trade, the company whereby they did the opium trade, the drug trade.
Okay.
So Skull and Bones was started off of drug money.
Oh wow! Hold on. So, and I know that's what I heard originally. So they use drug money to start Skulls and Bones.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so there's a ritual where they lay in a coffin and confess their sexual misdeeds, and they say a surge goes through their body and they're born anew. And some of the vernacular sounds Christian. And so, you know, there are certain wordings that you hear with Skull and Bones that will sound Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, Skull and Bones is the farthest thing, one of the farthest things from Christianity that there is.
Yo, check this out real quick. Look at this. So y'all hear what he's saying? Drug money was used to start Skulls and Bones, and I was gonna put it in the comment. What does that say? Can you see that?
What is it saying? Oh my God, I can't see it.
I was trying to put it in the chat, and it say YouTube rejected your comment. This usually means they think it's a scam. Try changing it a bit.
They probably are messing with.
Hey, this is real, but this is real time right here. Y'all seeing this happen.
Wow.
Now I ain't typing nothing now. They might try to. They might.
And the thing about it is, this is actually true. This is actually something. It's true. This is something that they can look into. They can look into the history of the British East India Company, and they can find out. Elihu Yale.
Mm-hmm.
Yale University was started by Elihu Yale. Elihu Yale was a member of the British East India Company.
Hey, so is it true that the skull of Sitting Bull that is that true? They took his skull?
If I remember, it was George Bush's father, Prescott Bush, that was supposed to, I believe it was Prescott Bush, that was supposed to kidnap the skull of who you're talking about.
Yeah.
From my understanding, that's true.
Oh wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. Okay. Well, okay.
And if you want to know about Skull and Bones, there's at least 3 books you need to get. There's the unauthorized biography of George Bush by Webster Tarpley and Anton. I can't think of his name, but you trust me, you'll find it. It's not a problem. The next one is America's Secret Establishment. Now, this is about Skull and Bones. It is by Professor Anthony Sutton, and he's the first one to expose Skull and Bones. The other one is Fleshing Out Skull and Bones.
Okay.
And it's by a student of Anthony Sutton. I can't think of his name, but it's called Fleshing Out Skull and Bones, and it's the most comprehensive book on Skull and Bones that there is. There's a whole history behind Skull and Bones being revealed. I'm not trying to take up time.
You good. You good.
When you start talking about Skull and Bones and the Milner Group and all that, there's a whole lot that Americans just, I'm not trying to be funny, but they just don't know. And I'm going to say it like this. Professor Sutton had already written books exposing, he didn't know the exposing this yet, but then later on he found out, oh, why I'm getting opposed, because I'm exposing the establishment.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, basically, he wanted to find out about Skull and Bones, but did not have the means to do it. Then he was contacted, apparently, by this person that had family who was in it, both a grandfather and a father. And she wrote a book in the 90s called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. We're talking about Charlotte Iserbyt.
Hold up, say that title again. The Deliberate Dumbing Down.
The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America.
Now, does that deal with the education system?
That deals with the education system, because after you get the congressional report on foundations, and you also get a book called Foundations, Their Power and Influence by Rhinehart. After you get that, you want to get she wrote The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, but she wanted to find out all she could about your Order of Skull and Bones. So with the membership that she had in her possession, she handed it to Anthony Sutton. Anthony Sutton was able to do research and to go into the background of the order, and he came up with a hypothesis, and it is a hypothesis, but it is a well-educated one. There's one other book called Secrets of the Tomb by a woman called Secrets of the Tomb. It's written by a woman. I can't think of the book. It's called Secrets of the Tomb.
Secrets of the Tomb.
She traces the Order of Skull and Bones. She herself traced, but this is her saying, making the claim. Now she's a member. Now Yale has more than one secret society. First of all, hold on, let me take this one. Yale has. Let's see. I don't know how I did this. Hold on. Hold on. Let's see.
You got to hit that circle. With that circle with the arrows, depending on.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Yale has more than one secret society, and she's in another secret society. This is why I tell you to get her book. She's in another one of Yale secret societies called, I think, Scroll and Key.
Okay.
There's another one, a popular former CNN host is a member of that. Jesus. Oh Lord. He's a member. He's a member. And it's a well-known person. I wish I could remember the person's name. But anyway, in Secrets of the Tomb, she traces Skull and Bones to the Illuminati.
Oh, you done said that word. You done said that word.
Yeah. And when you trace specifically some of their rituals, it's about rituals. It sounds the same. The Order of Skull and Bones comes from a German
322.
322. Yeah. 322 comes from what they said the German chapter. Definite connection that some people are ignoring, but does not need to be ignored.
Gotcha, bro.
Does not need to be ignored. So I know I've said a lot, and I've tried to pack it in. But first of all, I'm just excited that I'm heard. And so.
Hey, you know me. I'm a just fire, but the show must go on. All right. So we're gonna move to the next slide, and this is coming from this book here, and
which is a book everybody should have.
Yes, I suggest everybody get this book. This is what he says. This is from the introduction. The conspirator view of history, the unseen hand. Wars start when one nation moves into the territory of another. Depressions occur when markets take unexpected downturns. Inflation occur when prices are driven up. The people always spontaneously rise up to overthrow the existing government. And in my notes, I'm reminded of the Arab Spring. Do you remember that?
I know a little something about it.
So that's pretty much during the Obama administration. That was when we saw a lot of the oh my goodness, Christian persecution skyrocket in the majority of the Islamic nations. How they were ISIS was taking, it was Al Qaeda and ISIS taking Christians, putting them in cages and throwing them in the swimming pool and video recording them dying, drowning. It even got so bad. It got so bad that they was selling the blood of Christians to other Muslims in Iraq. Came to my mind. See, the Arab Spring, these are the traditional explanations of historical events, and that they happen by accident. That's what he continues on. Then he says, they do not seem to be there does not seem to be any cause, but this explanation of history leaves benign questions, and the massive serious students. Is it possible that government leaders and others planned these events and then orchestrated them to their desired conclusions? Is it possible that even the great catastrophe of history were part of this plan? There's an explanation of historical events that answers these questions. It is called the conspiratorial view of history, and it's the alternative to the accidental view. So that's what I got stuck with, bro. When I came out of that, I don't know what I was in, bro. I was just, like I'm looking and I'm like, I'm thinking that Bush was a Christian. I'm thinking that we fighting a Christian war and all that. And I was so caught up, but then I got my hands on this book. And so I had to start researching, different things like with the AIDS virus. AIDS virus. Like I started looking at those things like, hold up. Because I remember when I was a kid and I seen a child die from AIDS. And I was so scared because I was like on the commercial from AIDS. And this little boy died from AIDS. And I was frightened, but I didn't know how people got AIDS or whatever. But it was an infectious disease that was spreading like wildfire. But then later on, as I got older and reflected back on that, I said, hold up. You mean to tell me there's a theory that this was created in a lab? Because growing up, you're told that, like the first thing I heard was it came from a monkey. Some man in Africa had sex with a monkey, went back home, had sex with his wife, and then she had sex with other people, and that's how it spread. Crazy. But in reality, the more probable thing that happened was that it was created. It's all over this.
Exactly. Really, the key to understanding a lot of what's going on is understanding the history behind it. That's really it. It's not, and I came to understand when it came to that a lot of people don't understand history. Now, I'm gonna say this: there are those that understand history, but have a predetermined bias to not include conspiracy in their history.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not talking about something that can be, I'm talking about something that has lines of evidence that you can't just shoo off. They still have this bias. Now, there's bias on the other end. I'll admit it. I'll admit that. There's bias on the other end, and I see it even online, where everything is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
No. So you need to guard against that, but you also need to guard against this thing that says nothing is a conspiracy. Everything just spontaneously happens, and that's just not true. Even if, a lot of people have that, this idea that, revolutions spontaneously happen and wars happen because of this or that. Indulge me, for lack of a better term, that you went to Skull and Bones, then you went to this, because this is rooted in Skull and Bones.
Mm.
What Dr. Sutton researched, it's rooted in Skull and Bones, and it's in order for history to progress, there must be conflict.
Mm.
In order for history to progress, there must be conflict. Where did they get this idea from? They got it from Hegel. Where did it become popular? Germany.
Oh, so
Germany.
We
You had Hegelians that were rich, but you also had Hegelians that were Marxist, and that's why when you look at the history, you'll find out that there was a Marxist revolution in 1917. There was a Bolshevik revolution, but if you study it hard enough, you'll find out that they were funded.
Mm.
They were funded. They were the establishment is Marxist, but because the establishment is a bunch of monopoly capitalists, but at the root of their thinking is Hegel, and this idea that there must be conflict, and that basically they put the thoughts of Hegel to politics, just like they put the thoughts of Charles Darwin to politics.
Mm-hmm.
Social skill that says, okay, conflict brings progress. You have a thesis and an antithesis and a synthesis. So if conflict brings progress, controlled conflict brings controlled progress. And so in order to get to what you need to get to, there must be conflict.
Mm.
And so they see that, for instance, there needs to be people eliminated from the planet. People don't like to hear this, but this is just there are people that believe that. They want to eliminate people from the planet.
We brought that up last week, how the Georgia Guidestones said that you need to keep the world population under 500 million or 500 million. And I'm like, it's 8 billion people on the planet now. How do y'all plan on getting to 500 million?
Depopulate. But in order to get this done, if everybody, because Texas, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
everybody can fit into Texas, and we'd be all right. But now, I'm not saying that everything will be peachy and everything like that. But the point is, there's plenty of room on the planet. But if you have this belief that says that we got to get rid of a certain amount of people, then what you do is you create this atmosphere that says that we're overcrowded and all this other kind of stuff. and then to get people, to get it to where you have to where you can eliminate people, you have to be able to put things in people. And so to do that, and if you create diseases, you can create vaccines.
There you go.
If you create vaccines, you can actually put them in people and then eliminate them. And the way that you fool people into that it really is a crisis is you control the media. The media has been controlled since like 1912.
Yeah.
You know, so those that are thinking that it's a new thing, President Trump just not talking about me. The media has been talked about on the left and the right.
And matter of fact, it was JFK who talked about or encouraged the media to, not take sides, to do their job and report the news fairly. And I think it was also him who spoke out against secret societies. And it slide right here. So again, from the same book, it is difficult for the casual observer to believe that these incredible events could not have been prevented, as humane people of conscience do not allow harmful events to occur. If a planned and unwanted event is allowed to happen, those who plan secret so as to prevent the discovery of their plans by those who would be adversely affected. So experiment. Matter of fact, in Greensboro, they were neutralizing African American women. I learned about that when I was living there. All right. He continues. He says planners working in secret to plan an event that the people do not wish to of the conspiracy. Webster defines conspiracy as a combination of people working in secret for an evil or unlawful purpose. Not only must the conspiracy work in secret, they must make every effort to ensure that their plans are not made public. The first task of the conspiracy then becomes that of convincing people that the conspiracy itself does not exist. Every time I hear somebody say, "Oh, that's like," especially when I first got into this, I kept hearing, "Man, G, you a conspiracy theorist. You a conspiracy theorist." And I'm like, but the evidence is showing that, and it's like, they don't want to look at it. They don't want to look at the evidence. It's almost like they're too afraid to accept that yes, they put fluoride in your water to poison you. That is for your pretty white smile. God has given us all we needed on this planet to help our biology. We don't need those type of poisons, but hey, like you said, if you put it in the body, then that 500 million people population, if you disperse that globally, guess what? Yes, and the combination of conflicts, the combination of misinformation through the media. Look at what happened during COVID. Oh, you don't get the COVID shot, you ain't black. Nah, let me stop. Nah, he ain't say that, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's like, oh, they scaring people to go get the vaccine, and then the people go get the vaccine, they still get sick.
Here's what people need to think about in terms of COVID. And people are still very, very sensitive. It's really something to behold. people are very offended when it comes to COVID.
Yes, sir.
First of all, people came in COVID left and right, not just right, left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you know, the ever being thing, because they're very clever in how they get people to debunk, quote unquote, debunk stuff.
Yeah.
Vaccines. But I'm saying, with us having more deaths than ever before, it at least needs to be checked. We need to check whether it was the vaccines or not. You know, now if you ask me personally, that's another thing. But if you ask me just, do I think it needs to be investigated? I think it needs to be investigated.
Oh, they about to investigate it. I got a book called Fizman's Fraud, and it deals with the misinformation about COVID. I said I was going to make that a separate show, but it's part of the conspiracy. We got a number of people, an oligarchy of men controlling the events around the world, and they're aimed at destroying mankind. Period. At least I ain't did the math, but that's a lot of folk.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. All right. Let's continue. Continue reading here. So there are three ways of exposing the conspiracy. Well, any of the participants in the conspiracy to break with it and to expose his or her involvement just takes an extremely courageous individual, and that type of exposure is indeed rare. You already know who I'm going to, Bill Cooper. You know what I'm saying? They said he shot at the police when they came to get him. I don't know, but I gotta look further into that. But I got a little bit in there, but yes, he says a new world order is beating down the door. That's the other part about this discussion, bro. It's like the concept of the new world order, like the reason and the purpose behind all of what they're doing, Soros and all of them, is to get to a new world order, a world order. Like Soros said, America is standing in the way of world order.
You know, Bill Cooper, who's one of the most fascinating people that you'll study.
Mm-hmm.
If you once you get past all the hoopla and everything, actually get to the actual person. He's actually one of the most fascinating people you'll study. And one of the things about this, and he's very transparent in this book. He says, you know, go behind me. And there's one thing he even changed. He literally changed on his program. He said, hey, I said this in my book, but this is not what it is. This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's in a state of actually learning. Because he recognized that there's a difference in being deceived on some of the stuff and saying everything is a deception. To say everything is a deception is Gnostic.
Rabbit hole we don't want to go down.
No, that's Gnosticism.
Gnosticism.
But to say there's deception, you know, and what did Bill Cooper say it started with? It started with him with the National Security Act of 1947.
Mm.
If you understand the National Security Act, it did not want you to know If they declared it national security, you couldn't look into it.
Right.
That's why they still are questioning aliens. Why? Because this is something that the government, if I remember correctly, declared as national security. Now, Bill Cooper talks about he couldn't put in his book because he put everything in his book that was in the public record. But he talked about the things that he was exposed to, but he couldn't put the things in the book because if they're declared national securities, it's the law of the land. If it's declared national security, they have a right to erase what's in your book. National security is a big deal. It is a big deal. And one of the things he said was national security was them building a world government. This is literally national security. They will deny it to your face. But if you look at the evidence behind it, there's lots of evidence. If you look at the evidence, they are building a world government. This is what they're doing. I have enough documentation to show you this is exactly what they're doing. After I show it to you, it's up to you what you do with it. You know, Bill Cooper definitely had the information. Gary Todd definitely has information. There's a whole lot of people that have information that show that this is what they're doing.
Right. All right. So so we are is a good and steady. I'm glad I did it this way. Hopefully everybody can hear you clearly. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting you up on the camera. Hey, like I said, I'm a soldier and I know how to adjust fire. So, and I apologize for the first half of the show if it was a little slow. But you know, stuff happens. Just hit the fast forward button and you know what I'm saying, just go from there. But this next slide. So I'll tell you about this image. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll tell you about the image in a second. So I'm still coming from the book. So he says in his book, it will be the position of this book that a conspiracy doesn't. Oh, what I do? Can you hear me? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. But sometimes I be hitting buttons on. Oh, y'all see my. Okay. I got to go back to the slideshow. I hit that button. Y'all saw my notes. Okay. All right. So, as I was stating, no, I didn't do it. Let me go back again and do it with viewer notes. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Viewer notes, please. All right, let's see. Did it come back up? There we go. All right. So, he said it's my connection. That's sad, man. I hate this. Hopefully, peace out. Peace to Courtney. Peace chat. What's up with you? All right. So let me go over this slide again. And I would definitely probably have to get another internet. If it's constantly mine, then yeah, I will have to change up. All right. So again, he says it's the position of this book that the conspiracy does indeed exist and that it is extremely, largely, deeply entrenched and therefore extremely powerful. It is brutal control over the entire human race by using war, depressions, inflations, revolutions, to further its aims. The conspiracies, one unchanging purpose has been to destroy all religion, all existing governments, human institutions, and to build a new world order. This phase will be defined later. Okay. So what you see here, I don't know if you can see it, but you remember like they were saying like you could take the dollar bill and fold it a certain kind of way, and like you would see the running of the World Trade Center and how it's falling. So I played around with the $1 bill, and this is what I seen. I seen here when I put the circles, the half circle close to the other half circle on the seals on the back, and it appeared to be the eagle crashing into the pyramid. And I couldn't help but to remember, like doing this research of hearing how the American eagle at one point in time, it was supposed to be, I don't know if you heard that or not, but, and the reason why it was a phoenix at first is because the agenda of the New World Order, the eagle or the phoenix is supposed to represent America. And you know, the phoenix, it crashes, it burns, and then out of the ashes, a new bird or a new in their sight, a new world order. And I just thought that this was pretty interesting to see that I believe that they purposely put this like this.
Well, I'm gonna say this really quick, but for everyone that's concerned, I'm telling you, you're gonna have a lot of homework when I'm done with you. Some of which you're not gonna like, but some of which you're not gonna be able to deny. But let me start with what you may or may not like. Look up a document. I want to say America's
Secret Destiny.
The Secret History of America's Beginnings.
Okay.
By Chris Pinto. Secret History of America's Beginnings. Matter of fact, look up the documentaries because there's at least 3 of them that you need to watch and that are connected. The Chris Pinto documentaries. The next one is by actually Ralph Epperson. There's another book he wrote called The New World Order, where he talks about the dollar bill.
Uh-oh.
It's a book he wrote called The New World Order, where he wrote about the dollar bill. Now I can get to the stuff. After I say one more thing, I can get to the stuff that some of you all can't deny. The last thing I'm going to say, though, is to get the book New World Order, Ancient Plan of Secret Societies by William T. Steele. The last book I'm going to tell you to get is New World Order, Ancient, as a journalist. During the latter part of his career as just a regular journalist, if I remember, he had to sleep with a gun under his pillow because of what all he apparently was finding out. But in there, he talks about how America began. Now, the next things I'm going to tell you to get is by Manly Palmer Hall, a former
Manly P. Hall,
an occultist and a Freemason, an honorary 33rd degree Freemason, but an occultist. He says in the books, America's Assignment with Destiny and America's, The Secret Destiny of America.
Yes.
How America was first formed. Now, if you read all three of those, what you find out is that America, as far as the people were concerned, You cannot get away from this. Documents testify against you. Please do not fight against this. This is just what it is. America's was started off with a strong Christian outlook. Now, was there slavery going on and everything? Yes. But their worldview, they were messed up people, but they were people. They were people. That really ought to solve it, but people make it such a thing. But they were people. But at least they had a strong Christian outlook. And when it came time for people to fight against slavery, they fought against the Bible. And they won because people were convinced by the Bible. Now, with that being said, he goes into the history of how there were secretly among the initiated, there was an agenda for America to be the inhabitor or the person that started the enlightened democracy among the nations, a world democracy, essentially. You know, and this is you can actually get these books. These are books that you can get, that you can read yourself. You know, and so those are books that tell of the history. Now, on one side, you have a phoenix, which is interesting. They say it's interesting because before Donald Trump got elected, the way that the New World, the North American Union currency was put forward was, guess what? A phoenix. A phoenix. I have it on my page. A phoenix, because the American Union was going to be built on the ashes, some thought, of America, more than likely.
Wow.
And with the pyramid on top, they'll tell you there's the eye of providence. But in gematria, when you have an eye going, upward. Why would God be going upward?
Good question.
God would be going down. It's because what you have over the pyramid is the Grand Master of the universe, who's going against the grain building. Basically, in our Christian vernacular, Satan. You know, and the building blocks separated from the eye of the so-called eye of. There's a lot of different theories on that, but some theories say it's the 13 families. You know, but there's a whole lot to be deciphered where that's concerned. That's a whole other program. But those are definitely Masonic symbols. The person who got Franklin Delano Roosevelt was a Freemason. First of all,
they say the majority of the presidents
the person who got him to put that on the back of the dollar bill was Harold Wallace. Another, if I remember, he was either a Freemason or he was a member of some Rosicrucian sect.
Yeah, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. They from my research, they delved a little bit or a lot into the Kabbalah. So with the Kabbalah, the use of circles to activate certain spells seems to be something that they use. And so to see these two seals on the back of the dollar bill, hold up, I got it right here. Do I got a dollar? Nope. I ain't got it in my pockets. But the two seals on the back of the dollar bill they say like when you fold them and you put them the two halves together, and it creates this image of the eagle crash landing into the pyramid, is one symbolic of the destruction of the United States, and and it's symbolized, not symbolizes, but it's an example of the use of this last one. It's your boy, Dr. Quigley. So, all right, so I'm gonna go through this, and then I'm gonna let you spit. So, Dr. Carl Quigley, a professor of history at Georgetown University's Foreign Service, and who formerly took a book entitled Tragedy and Hope. That was the one that we had talked about earlier, and it was published in 1966 and was, according to the author, the result of 20 years of research into the conspiracy. This is what he says in his book. There does exist and has existed for generations an international Anglophile network which operates to some extent in the way that radical right believes the Communist Act. And in fact, this has no aversion to cooperating with the communists or any other group. It frequently does. I know of operations. This is him. He says, I know of operations of this network because I have studied it for 20 years and was permitted for 2 years in the early 60s to examine its papers and secret records.
After Bill Cooper, because Bill Cooper, from what I understand, from what we know about Bill Cooper, was on our side. But if you want to just talk about someone who's also very interesting to study, is Carol Quigley.
Yeah.
Carol Quigley, don't listen to Carol Quigley and roll your eyes and everything like that. Listen to what I'm going to say about Carol Quigley and then make up your mind. Carol Quigley was Bill Clinton's mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that again. Carol Quigley was Bill Clinton's mentor. If you look in Dr. Dennis Cuddy's book and Secret Records Revealed, get anything you can by Dr. Dennis Cuddy, PhD. Get anything you can by Dr. Cuddy, PhD. But in his book, he talks about how Clinton admitted basically that Carol Quigley said that there was a secret network that controlled America. And in order to advance his political career, he joined himself with this network. Now, you can think, oh, that can't be believed. Well, he was a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, part of the roundtable groups. Mm-hmm. He was a member of the Trilateral Commission. It was started by Zbigniew Brzezinski and David Reynolds Bilderberg. There's a picture of him and George Bush sitting together. George Bush was part of the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission. He was a member of the CIA. And he was a member of Skull and Bones.
And then they say, there's rumors that he may have had sent with the JFK.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because around that time he was president of the CIA, but he was in it apparently, and he may have had something to do with the Kennedy assassination. We're talking about W. Bush,
right?
So getting there, you can't just have fun. It really is something that is happening.
Right.
You know, and so Harold Quigley was a member of, he was part of Georgetown University, was a Jesuit, first of all. And I'm not making everything a Jesuit. There are people out there like that, but it was a Jesuit college, you know. You know, member of the Roundtable Group came to him, disclosed. I can't think of the person's name now because he's gone now. It's no secret now.
Yeah.
But he came to him and said what he said. He said, "Well, I got something for you. And I got a story for you, basically." And he basically filled in on what had been going on. And so, basically, in Tragedy and Hope, he basically, in honestly know that basically they receive the ball and everything. And yes, this is what they do. This is how they do it. Yes, this is really going on, but the simply right-wingers think it's the communists, and it's really these people.
Right. So, yeah.
You ought to get upset when I say that. Like, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
People ought to get upset when I say that because he's saying, "Oh, it's happening." They're not making this up in their own mind, but it's not communists doing it, it's these people.
Right. Because they work with the commies, but they work with all groups.
Exactly. And so basically, he wrote about that, and then he wrote later on, and it was not even released after he died. Because he was scared to come out with it, apparently. The Anglo-American establishment. The Anglo-American establishment, where he talks about the member group. And one of the things you find out about Cecil Rhodes when you study is guess what Cecil Rhodes was? A Freemason.
Oh, yeah, Cecil Rhodes. Yep.
A Freemason. And so now everything is not Freemasonry, but what I'm saying is, it's like Alex Bailey said, Freemasonry is a seat of the mysteries, is the seat rather of the mysteries. So people that go on to do something in life at one point had involvement with the lodge, more than likely.
Okay. Yeah, and you know what? Like going back to what you was saying about like the founding fathers, initially the country was, under a Christian umbrella, but I realized that a lot of the founding fathers were actually deists, and it influenced a lot of the policies when it came to God and education.
When you start dealing with the actual policy makers and everything, that's when you have to make a difference. Yeah. When you deal with the people, people for the most part were Christians and different kinds of people, they were Christians, but when you deal with the actual founders, you're dealing with like deists, and some of them were partisan. Some of them, and I believe that what they wanted to set out to do is give people an opportunity to be free. And if they chose freedom, that would be the New World Order. But if they wanted to go another way, that means in the Constitution, because you find this in the Constitution. They put means in the Constitution for them to hang themselves.
Yeah.
And basically, this is what they did. And they did a whole project, and it was a time where people in this country knew certain things. They knew about the money changers. They knew about banking. There's an old book I have called The Coming Battle.
Yeah.
You know, and it was written in 1899, if I remember correctly. And it talks about the money changers. And no, it doesn't say Jewish. It just says money changers. It just talks about the money changers.
He being anti-Semitic.
Right. You know, because when you know about real money changers, it's not just are Jews involved, but it's not just Jews. It's not just Jews, and it's not Jewish. First of all, if you want to talk about what it is in terminology, it's not Jewish at all, really.
Yeah.
You know, in sense, Jews in it, and it does promote Jewishism, like the Kabbalah.
The Kabbalah, yeah.
But there's a story behind the Kabbalah,
right.
You know, and I don't want to keep us on too long because I could keep going, but I'm just saying.
Well, we've reached the 2-hour mark, and I had a feeling that was going to happen before I was able to get through all the slides, but I can do a continuation. I don't know if you know it or not, but I have a discussion to have with Captain Ting, and so whether or not we should follow the dietary laws. So that should be a very interesting conversation. I look forward to it on, I think, the 21st. If I can get another show in, another 2 shows in between that time, then I'll do the next show with the last 6 slides that I wasn't able to get through. Because, like I said, we could stay on one slide 3 or 4 hours. So
you were, and when you and I'm enjoying myself, I could say literally something on everything. You know?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. And but yeah, I do appreciate you coming on. I think next time what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to McDonald's, or so that the connection will be stronger. I'm not sure why my internet is not working. I pay a whole lot of money for this internet service, like that. Because Thomas, and he dedicated to the cause, bro. He always go up. So, hey, Thomas, man, I appreciate it. But yeah, now he can hear my connection, so I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that. So, but again, let's end on biblical and how we can further warn and witness, further warn and witness about Christ with this subject.
Basically, hold on just a minute. And to have a biblical lens to which we see everything, you know, sorry, like we should see people as I'm trying to think of a good way to say this so I can sort of just so it'll make sense to process it. We shouldn't see the world as hopeless.
Gotcha.
You know, as something that can't be saved. We shouldn't have this sort of mindset where we say, "Where I'm just going to wait this and all this other stuff," because we can fall in the trap of believing that, well, this is the last generation, so I know. Even with all that we're able to know now, we still don't know. We really don't know if this is the last generation.
Right.
We don't know that. We don't know that. The key is to make sure that people the gospel, you know, and to understand the proper function of the church, which is to preach the gospel, to warn people to be sober, you know, and not teach them and act as though that, you know, that things are just hopeless. You know, now me and my wife and my mother-in-law, we have this conviction where, you know, we don't participate in the political process.
Yeah.
So I know that some people don't know it, but I'll tell you now, we don't participate. But if you do, we still don't condemn people. Why? Because, you know, as long as you're an educated person, you can vote. Now we do kid ignorance. I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
I may say something. But if you're not ignorant, then, you know, now I'm going to say this, if you're not, 9 times out of 10, the person you're facing is not getting in on the federal level, especially. Now on the local level, they may get in, so who knows? But on the federal, it can be something party.
Yeah.
Possibly a liberty party. Maybe the independent party. If you Republican and sometimes even Democratic Party, but they're not going to be someone that makes it all the way to the end. They make it all the way to the end, and they're Democratic or Republican, man. You know, or they may be someone who can be controlled.
Yeah.
In some way. You know, that's where I'm at. You know, I'm not someone who believes in being, you know, it's not a place to be judged. Now, I'm not someone who doesn't believe in that, not judging. So I believe that we ought to, our main thing ought to be to preach the gospel, to make disciples, and to train people up to be, you know,
Good swords.
Yeah, with swords, and to be soldiers or whatever you want to say when in their sphere of influence, wherever that is, you know, just now, you know, that makes sense.
Yeah, bro. Now for me, it's like everything that we just talked about has, you know, like this new world order. To me, the new world order government will be that last government set up by man. And the fact that we see it to stand up piece by piece, been going on for 20 years now. So, you know, like you said, it might not be this generation, it could be the next or the one right after it, but just be what really matters. That they trying to do it, and the Bible has told us exactly that. And so this is something that we can trust. When it happens, what side will they, what side would you be on? And I'm not saying you, but I'm asking the listeners, what side would you be on? Are you going to rock with the new world order, or are you rocking with the king? And that's what it boils down. And
again, you have to remind government, if you're on the right side of things, you have to have your mind governed by God.
Right.
And if your mind governed by God, you're gonna see. Ultimately, you're gonna see through the whole. You may not see the whole thing. Everybody is not gonna see. You're looking at things through a godly lens, basically.
Amen. Well, bro, man, so we are 2 minutes and Starbucks next time, and that way we could do this the traditional way. But like I said, that I do, you always welcome to come on. Like I tell the bros, if y'all want, y'all can come on and give your opinions. It doesn't have to be a debate about anything, but if it's a debate about whatever, it don't matter. Just come holler. That's all I say. And again, I just want to appreciate you for coming in, and I got to give you your applause and say, I'm glad you're doing well, the family. Here we go. You might hear it. So appreciate you, bro. If it play, there we go. I played the wrong one. I played the wrong one. Hold on, here we go. Let me tell you. That was my bad. Yeah, there we go. There we go. We'll link up, and if I have to, like I said, go to Starbucks, that's what I'm going to do. So, grace and peace be with you, bro, and I'll link up with you later.
Fixes because there's a whole lot more to talk about, but man, I enjoy being with you. So praise God.
I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, y'all. So that was it. Again, I have to apologize. It's so frustrating. I have the Verizon internet, and it has been, super fast. But it's due to the fact that I'm in Alabama, and everything is so far away from each other. So y'all have to be patient with me. I appreciated the bro for coming on. I thought David was going to show up, but I guess he tired from last week, which is cool. No problem. So with that being said, hey, like I told y'all, I have a discussion with Captain 10K about keeping the dietary laws. Should we do it? Shouldn't we? I don't know. I do know, but I ain't going to get into it right now. But check that out. And they still got verses going on over here on Paradigm Shift. Check out check them out over there, and it's your boy GT, and I'm out.
Yo, it's your brother B. Washington, brother Washington, Byron Washington, coming to you straight live. I want to give a shout out to our brother Pianki Patah, aka DMG, aka got the baddest channel on the planet, Paradigm Shift 314. I really love this channel because it allows brothers and sisters from all walks of life, all spiritual traditions, to really come, dialogue, no BS, no fighting. Yeah, we turn up a little bit here and there, but we still do it to turn up in love, and we all try to build from each other, and I can really appreciate that. And the brother's real open because he's down for the people, no matter, regardless of your traditions. Of course, everybody gonna have their own belief systems and this, that, and the third, but the brother is down for the people to allow us to build and really find a way to navigate in this world that's so oppressed us, no matter what your faith tradition is, what your worldview is, whatever the case is. We already know that in this society we become are a part of an oppressed society. So shout out to Paradigm Shift 314. Shout out to the brothers and the co-hosts as well, Nobody. So we're just gonna keep it on rolling. Again, the hottest channel on YouTube.
Hey, look. Labels blowing up my line and got me missing calls. Told her you ain't gotta hit me till you licking. Feel like ZVF, baby, I be cooler than the mink weather. Make a Coke bottle, give me brains till I think better. Back up on my again, hanging out with Benjamin. Franklin got me stankin' in the Lincoln, talking dividends. Look at what we did again. Brought the